So what we are going to make today is protected and public routes functionality using React Router DOM version 6. So as you can see, I have a login page and I do have a home page, but I cannot visit that at the moment. It is rerouting me back to my login page. But if I click login, I can see the home page. So now I can come to the home page, but if I log out, I cannot see the home page again. So, and one thing that is worth mentioning is I have two different pages. Both of them are protected routes. I have home 2 and I have home. So if I log out, I cannot go to the home page and I cannot go to home 2 as well. So this is what we are going to create today, and this is strictly for React Router DOM version 6. If you are going to work with version 5 or earlier, you have this is not the tutorial for you because there are huge differences between version 5 and version 6. So first things first, since we are going to be creating private and protected routes, let's first go ahead and create two sample pages. I will be calling one home, and the other I will be calling the other login page. So the login page will be public page. It will not be protected, but the home page will be a protected page. You will have to be logged in to view this page. So let's just quickly create these some sample code just to showcase our today's concept. It will be a functional component, and we are going to use since this is a previous app, I was using style component in that one, so I will use style component in this one also. Styles style home dot style dot ts, import style from style components, export wrapper equal to style dot dev. So that's what we are going to be exporting from here, and inside our functional component will has style from styles, but I will have to move this into the styles folder and create another file with index.ts export all from. So this index.ts file just it doesn't do anything other than importing stuff from home.style.ts and exporting it from this folder. So I don't have to write this home.style. So this is now equivalent to just styles, since we have dot index.ts file there. So now we can wrap this div inside that wrapper. Now this is essentially a div, and for now let's just have an h1 inside here and say this is home page. Okay, this will be styled dot wrapper. Okay, so this is home page, and we'll create a similar page inside the login index.tsx. Obviously the name will be different. This will be login, and we'll say this is login page, and we'll just simply call this copy this style folder and paste that here. So that's that, and let's now quickly create a router so that we can navigate from on both these pages. Okay, so before that, let's make sure we have already installed the React Router DOM. So we have React Router DOM, and the version is above 6. Obviously, since this is a tutorial for version 6, so make sure you have a version above 6 for this if you are working with me. Okay, so let's create another folder with the name router, and inside this router, let's create index.tsx, and let's grab some boilerplate code, and this will be router. I'll call this one also a functional component. Let's get that from React. Apart from functional component, we'll also get routes from React Router DOM, and also route. So one thing to notice right away is that there is a difference with this routes. Previously, before version 6, we had switch. Now switch is replaced with routes. So that's the first difference that we are seeing today. Let's also import home, and let's also import login page here. So we have both the pages that we just created, and inside here what we will be doing is we'll not be having this div. We'll have routes, and inside the routes we'll define our each route separately. So our home page will be uh, obviously just slash the normal URL that will be localhost 3000, and the second difference will be this. So previously what we did was we just passed in the component, the object of the component that we imported directly to the path, and this was previously called component. Now it is changed a bit. Now it is called element, and we have to pass it as a JSX element like this. So that's the second difference. And the next page will be login, and we will just say login here. So we now have a router, and if we go to our app.tsx, so this is a previous example. We don't need that. No, don't need these. So let's just comment these out. Let's comment this out also. And what we are going to do here is we are going to import browser router. So previously, usually this was I saw a lot of people do that, like import browser router as router, but I don't do that now because in version 6 we have routes. This kind of makes it hard to read because it is one router and route, so it kind of mix and matches. So I just keep it as browser router. So this will be browser router, and we will be um, importing a router inside and putting it in here. So we can just self close this. We don't need to um, make it a different tag. Okay, so this is our router. Now if we go to our here, you can see when we are on the localhost 3000, we see that this is a home page, and when we go to the login screen, we see that this is a login page. So at this moment, as you can see, that we can visit the home page. There is no restriction to it. We don't check whether or not the user is logged in, and this and that. So let's move back to the code and create a basic login functionality. So let's create do I have store? Yes, I have store. Let's create a context for user context.ts, and inside this user context, what we are going to do is we are going to create user context. So to create the context, we will get create context from React, and we'll create a interface, a basic interface for user. This will be much more complex if you are using it inside your app, but since this is not a demonstration for authorization or authentication, I'll be just using boolean variable, which is logged in, and I'll have two simple functions which will be perform login, and this will not return anything, and another one will be perform logout. This will also not return anything. So, and then we'll just create and export our context, user context, create context, and the type will be a user, and the initial state will be is logged in will be false initially, and both these functions perform login will be just like this, perform log out, and there shouldn't be this semicolon here. This should be like this. So this is our context for our authentication. Let's go to our provider and create a provider for this context. RFC user provider, and let's import the context that we just created, user context, and inside here we will just say user context dot provider, right, like this, and let's just remove this, and inside this we will just have children, and this takes in a parameter of value which we will be using inside our app. We will create that in a bit, but first let's create a normal um, how to say interface for this provider. We can say user provider props. So there are two ways to say to create this interface. We can say children, and we can mark this as a React node. This works perfectly fine, and then we can just use it. Another way is just to do this extends props with children, sorry, not this, props with children like this, and then we can just this automatically passes in the children to this interface, but this now needs a type. So another way is to do this. So one more way is to do this. So we'll just create an empty interface, and when we use this inside here, um, let's call this FC functional component. When we make this a functional component, we can just pass in props with the children, and then say user like this. So this just works perfectly fine, and now we have children inside inside the props of this automatically. Let's also get use state and create a normal is logged in state for our set login state, and initially it will be false. Let's create two functions. First will be perform login, and this will just do set login to true, and there will be a perform logout function which will just set this to false, and we will pass all these three things inside here: perform log in, perform log out, and since this is an object, we will have to wrap this inside two curly braces. This should work. Why is this not is logging the expected time type comes from? Okay, so this also need to be given type explicitly. This should now work. Okay, let's go back to our is logged in is okay. This is boolean, not false. Okay, this should now work fine. Okay, the error is gone now. So we have the basic structure ready. Let's now go back to our first go to our login page. So in our login page, what we are going to have is we need to have a function. Yeah, we need to have a button which should come on click should perform login functionality, and where we are going to get that login functionality will be import user context, and we will import use context to use the context API. And how we are going to do that is we are going to get is logged in. Oh no, we are going to perform login here. So we are going to get perform login from use context user context, and before I forget, we will also need to wrap our app in the user context. So let's import user, no, sorry, not user context, user provider. Let's get that provider here, and then wrap our app with this user provider, so that we can access this perform login and other stuff here, and we'll just simply say perform this login here. Okay, so whenever we click this, it should set the state of our user to as true to logged in, that he is logged in. Okay, and the next thing will be to okay this before moving forward, let's go back to our home page and do the similar thing here. We'll just get use context, and what else? We'll have to have his logged in state here. We'll check whether or not the person is logged in, and if they are logged in, we will have to have perform logout functionality as well. Use context, user context. Okay, and before before we render this page, we'll first check whether or not the user is logged in. Say if user is not logged in, we'll just return something else. For now, we can return an empty return an empty fragment. Okay, so this is basically something, but we also need to have this functionality here. Let's create button log out, and on click on click, we will just say perform, come on, perform log out. What did I do wrong? Okay, this should now work. And rather than rather than just doing this, we can do one thing, that is navigate. There is navigate in the React Router DOM. What this does is basically it helps us to navigate to a different location, right? So how are we going to do that? So we can do this. We can do it with this, or let's use the hook. Let's use the hook. We'll use the use navigate hook because we are going to need that anyhow. So might as well just use this here also. So how it works is we just get the use navigate. We get the this out of this use navigate, and if it is logged in, what we do is we just navigate, and in this in the as a parameter to it, we just pass it where do we want to navigate to. So we'll just, because since if we are not logged in, we will just navigate back to this route. Okay, so let's go back to our page here and see if this works. Okay, it doesn't work since we are still able to see this login, this home page. And just to make sure, okay, this is working. Let's go back to our home page. We should not be seeing this at the moment. Let's see what's wrong. We are navigating. Okay, okay, this is wrong. This is we don't call this navigate in the topmost layer. We should use effect. In fact, if I go here, we should have simple warning. Do I have that warning? Yes, we have this warning. You should call your navigate in a React use effect, not where your component is first rendered. So this is something that I made a mistake. So we should use a use effect inside here and move this inside this, and we will be rendering this every time when we change the state, login state. Okay, so it should now work. So you see, if I try to go to the home page, it is navigating me back to the login page, and if I simply comment this out, I should be able to go to my home page. So this is how I can create a simple login functionality, but this is private route, but this is not something you should be using, because you don't want to do this in every private route of yours, right? So before we move forward on how to make a bunch of private routes very easily, let's first complete this functionality here. So what do we want to do? We want to also go to our login page, and inside here let's get the use navigate inside here also, use navigate, and here say navigate, use navigate, and this will say whenever we want to log in, and as soon as we log in, we want to just go to our home page, right? We don't want to stay on the login page. So instead of perform login, we can say handle login and create a new function here, const handle login, and inside here we can say perform login. That's the first thing. And once we are logged in, we can say navigate to the home page. So we can call navigate here. That's perfectly fine. It's not in the topmost layer of the component, right? So this will as soon as I log in, it is taking me to the home page, and if I log out, since we are not logged in anymore, it is going to reroute us to the login page. So this is something that you can use for your private component, but this is not how you are going to do it. So for example, if you have 4 or 5 or 10 different private routes, so you don't want to do this again and again in every component. So there is an easier way to do it. You can create a simple hook that utilizes this functionality, and just use something that React Router DOM version 6 provides, that's called outlet, and use that to create your private routes very effectively and easily. So let me now show you how you can create a good hook that you can use to create protected routes. So we'll call this protected route dot ts dot tsx, not dot tsz, tsx, and let's say we will be, let's say, rfac, and this will give me a boilerplate code. And let's see. So what are we going to need inside here? Obviously we will need to see whether or not the user is logged in, and for that we will use our context API. And then another thing that I already mentioned is we are going to need some way to navigate to different pages, and something that is called outlet. I'll tell you a little bit about this outlet in just a bit. So what are we going to do is, the first thing that we are going to do is we will check whether or not the user is logged in. So how we are going to check if the user is logged in is with our context API, if is logged in, and we can get this from context, user context. And if the user is logged in, if is logged in, so we can, if it is not logged in, we can navigate to a certain page, right? So the address of which will be given here. So at every on every protected route, if someone tries to reach that particular route directly, and if they are not logged in, I want them to navigate to the login page, and just say set this place flag to true. So otherwise it will just show me this protected route, but I don't want to show this protected route. I want it to show the route that that person is trying to visit at that moment. So for that I will have to make a little bit of changes in my router inside here. How are we going to do that? So before moving forward, let me just call outlet here. So otherwise we are just going to render out this outlet something. We don't know what this outlet is, but we are going to render that out here. So let's go to our router here and utilize that outlet thing here. So what are we going to do inside here is we are going to make a new route, and path of it will be nothing. We'll just be making this the home page, and inside here I'm going to say protected route. Did I not get that? Why is this giving? Okay, so this is my protected route, and I'm going to close this. I'm not going to make this a self-closing one because this will have some childs on it. So let's move this one over, and now remove this. So what this is essentially doing is, whenever I try to visit this any address that is inside here. For example, if I had something like home 2 or home 3, if I try to visit any of these 3 paths, it will first take me here and go to this particular function component, which is this one, and it will come here and render out this the particular route that I'm trying to visit to get this. For example, if I'm trying to go to home 2, it will take this home 2 function, home 2 component, and make this the outlet of this protected route. So let me tell you how this is performed. Let me remove these and save this. And if everything works perfectly, it should still do the same thing. You can see I'm on the home page, and if I log out, I go to the login page. And if I'm logged out and I try to go to the home page, I cannot go to the home page because it is I'm trying to visit this page. It goes into the protected route. It takes in this home page, a home component, and puts it inside instead of this outlet. So now if you have multiple components, for example, let me copy and paste this. Let me call this home 2 and go here and no go inside my home 2 page, and let's call this home 2 and say this is home 2. And inside my router, what I can do is I can say if someone tries to visit home 2, I should render out the home 2 function, the component, and this will also be like this. Okay, so what it should do now is if I try to visit the home 2, it should take this home 2 and put it on the outlet of this protected route. So let me go back to home 2. So it should not let me go there because I'm not logged in. If I log in, it is taking me to the home page. But if I now go to the home 2, okay, this might not work at the moment because I'm refreshing the page. So let's have one thing inside here. Let's have another function. You can say go to home 2. Go to home 2, and let's create another function. Const you go to home 2, and inside this we'll just be navigating to um, home home 2 route. Home 2. Okay, so if I log in, I go to oops. Okay, this is my oh shoot. This is my home 2. This I should be doing this inside here. And take this, put this here. Should now work. Okay, so I now have another button, and if I click this, I'm seeing the home 2 page. Okay, so the mistake that I did should come in handy, and I should be now able to go to home page 1, and let's just say this to take me to home. So I can you can see that we have if we are logged in, I have 2 different protected routes, and I can easily go to them. Okay, this is not home, this is just this. Okay, so I can now log in and I can go to home 2 or home page, whether it doesn't matter how many protected routes do I have. All the thing that I now need to do is just go into my uh, router, and we can say just to come on protected routes here. Okay, so this is, I don't know why this is not working, but this should work. It should make this comment. I'm trying to comment this out, but you can see that these are all the things that are now protected routes. So the thing that you need to do is you create a new page, you import that, you just create a new line, and you just give that path and put this here, and you can utilize this protected route component as much as you like. So this is how you can create a simple protected routes methodology in using React Router DOM version 6. I hope you liked it, and don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel, like this video, share it with your friends, give me a thumbs up, some thumbs up if you learned something new. Thank you, goodbye, see you again.